Good evening, everyone. This is Rob, and after taking a slight stroll, doing some laundry, washing some dishes, petting a cat, and enjoying a nice tall glass of Calm Down, You Absolute Psycho, I've decided to continue with MediEvil instead of blowing my brains out. Now, if you haven't witnessed the marvelous Machiavellian masterpiece that was the last video of a man going insane over two of the most ridiculous parts of the game, pause this video now. Go watch it. It's just the finest. It's the finest that America could ever produce. The entirety of Disney's catalog couldn't compare. The entirety of Warner Brothers, any kind of film or anything else could not compare to a man driven insane by a 1998 underrated classic PlayStation 1 game. And I'm just going to toss it up to the fact that the jumps don't work quite well. It's just a victim of its times. If I remember correctly, not a single one of the original Crash trilogy had proper jumping mechanics. 3 was the most polished. Whew. Let's continue with the game now, shall we? This is another irritating level, but I feel the worst is behind us. Ladies and gentlemen, fresh out of the funny farm, Rob coming back with a MediEvil Part 5. We're going to talk to this guy because I need something to get my mind off the insanity.
An ancient battle fought here between the forces of good and the dark armies of Zarek. Now the masses are full of the restless.
Ah, yes. Okay. A little story time, so I can attempt to gather myself. Back in my younger days, 15, early 15, I had come upon the works of Pink Floyd's The Wall. I'd say earlier than that, maybe 14 or 13. I was fascinated with the album. Absolutely just enthralled by it. One of my favorite albums I'd say one of my favorite albums ever. A Roger Waters masterpiece. And while playing this game, I would have headphones on. One ear uncovered to listen to the game and what it had to offer, and one ear taking in all of Pink Floyd's masterpiece of The Wall. And I gotta say, I have fond memories of this level just because of that album. Oh yeah, this is a level you need a hammer. Why? Because you can do one of these. Yes. And for this level, for once, it's not the enemies who are doing you in. It's your own competence at half-baked platforming mechanics. Now we're gonna get our supplies. We need flaming arrows. You'll see it when it happens. And as for the shield, well, you might as well top that off because you're gonna need that too. The enchanted sword, don't really bother with it. There's no demons here. The worst you're gonna get is maybe that little guy down there with the axe. That's probably the worst this level has to offer. Otherwise, these fat guys, just get the hammer, just push them into the lava. It might as well be lava. And as for these little skinny guys with their, oh yeah, this is the place where you want the auto toggle on. Because you will run into pits, and you will die. And it ain't fun. Especially when you have 2 bottles of health in reserve. Now, these are your friends, sometimes. But hopefully, and luckily, you want to kill all these little enemies first. That is your first thing you want to do. This is me telling you as a human being. Kill the enemies first. Deal with every single one of them. The level is more easy to traverse that time. After that, when all your hazards are dealt with, then you can simply traverse the land without as much as a problem in your way, thanks to axe-wielding maniacs who have about as good as aim as you do, and fat guys who can't know how to speak good English because you're a complete moron at the subject at times. How did you pass with a near flawless score, by the way, Rob? How? Your speaking skills are the worst ever. I know people whose English isn't their first language and they speak better than you. The education system fail, or did you? It's clearly the latter. Anyway, instead of talking down to myself as a self-deprecation comedy would concern itself with, the hammer is your friend in this level. Use him, and use him well. See those helmets there? Floating in the distance? Use those. Okay, get all these things taken care of. Don't bother touching the boxes. Sometimes they don't really matter. But if you're going to hit the boxes, take precautions. Do one of those. Take the utmost care and don't die. Oh yeah, there's the dragon. I don't know if that's the bad dragon. It's the good one. Is it not? Oh, that camera change is still gonna be the worst thing ever. There is a level where the good serpent friend there that slides along the ground ends up being a bad thing. He comes after you, and Rob, if you do this again, I swear I'm gonna punish you somehow. You won't see it coming, but subconsciously you will punish yourself. Okay, that thing just scared the stew out of me, because there's one level where they just decide that the serpent that is going around, it decides to be a bad thing, and it comes after you. At least that's how my brain decides to warp my reality. He does nothing to the fat guys, but it's a very nice thing to have around when you have the axe throwers. Okay. Okay. This is a far easier challenge than the eternal curse of the asylum and the mockery that is ancient Earth. Ancient Earth, iced Earth, metal Earth. Anything but the actual name of the thing. At this point, I don't care. That's a shield, if I remember correctly. Yep. Best case scenario, stand from a distance. I think this is one of the evil ones. You just hit one. Not one of the guys. Box. And leave. Get this one down. Okay, they're dropping more. It was supposed to do that initially. I don't know why it didn't. So we're just going to get the crossbow. Probably one of the most useful weapons in this entire game at this point. You can keep me away from you. And, lock onto the doom box. That didn't kill them, I'm gonna be mad. And it didn't. Oh, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We're just gonna... Come on. Out of my face. Yeah, that's the problem with two of them. That's what the hammer's for. It's the best thing in the world right now. And we're good. all the enemies have been dispatched. And these little bridges, love them while you can, because the second you start collecting the actual heads, they're gone. And it's all down to your jump ability. And look, it's heaven. But anyway, as I was saying, once you start taking these heads, I'm not going to talk about this. You may have just lowered your chances of survival. Oh, we gotta come back and collect that chalice after everything is said and done. God help me. Hopefully by that time we will have found some health. Head 1. Collect. And look. The bridges are disappearing. I do like the theme of this level, though. Having trees decorated with the shields of fallen soldiers, cannons lying inside the tar pits of a once gruesome battlefield. And the curse of the fallen befalling you as you attempt to bring the souls of the dead. This is how you proceed the game, by the way. Oh, this is like for the other... This is just for level unlock. This isn't even for, like, progression of story. Oh, that was such a lucky jump. I'm glad I did that. Oh, my God. I'm doing good today. I'm doing... Well, not today, because the last video was recorded immediately before this. I'm gonna do something. Collect that. Do we have a rune? We do. And here come the soldiers. Luckily, these guys are really weak. They don't do hardly any damage. They're weak. Just over here. Oh, we have heaven. So lovely. Who would have thought that we'd come to this kind of... It's right next to heaven. We have the polar opposite. Your annihilation. A land of absolute desolation. These are going to be your downfall later, so sprint like the Dickens. Come over here. Grab this. Let them roll about. Collect your goods. Collect the soul. And then... enemies. Fat guys. Everywhere. First threat, kill the axeman. Then at that point, kite all the fat guys together and do that. I swear, my memories of this level were good because of the music I listened to while playing it. But I remember just the jumping. The tedious, punishing jumping. But it has some of the easiest enemies in the whole entire game at this point. These guys right here, I don't think they do damage to you. Their whole existence is to hopefully just knock you into the pits below in hopes of a one-hit kill. But it seems like that's not the case. Let me just do this. No, they don't even do damage. It's just boink, boink. I already have an idea planned out for the next game I'm going to play after MediEvil, and it's not going to be MediEvil 2. It's not going to be Ape Escape, like I've been talking about in previous videos. I don't want to spoil it, but I will give this hint. I think it's a classic. It's a well-known difficult game for the SNES. And it has a bit of an aesthetic to it. Actually, put down in the comments if you are well versed into SNES games. What game do you think I'm talking about? I already have it picked out. It's in my emulator list. I have it ready. I play tested it to make sure everything worked. And it doesn't save games. There's another hint. Everything's fine with it. No flaws there. My only flaw would be my own competence in playing the game. But down in the comments, if you're, this is how I know you're watching these videos and just passively just click again. I don't like this guy. Click out. I want to hear comments. I want to hear them. These texts, I'm gonna put them through a text machine. I'm gonna have a speak and say, read comments to me, because I'm that much of a psycho. I need someone to read my comments for me. But I'm gonna read them, and I'm gonna make sure people are watching this video through. Just take a guess of what that game could be. And if you guess by the time the videos are finally released, you don't win a pro. Forgot they were flying guys. They're slow, but they're still flying guys. There's another one. Take this. Come here. Yeah, you. Come get some. Step right out. Yeah, come down. Come down here. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Are there any more just on the battlements? Don't make me backtrack. I think I do have to backtrack. I hate that. How many souls do I have? 8 of 8? I almost did it. Oh, I thought that was a ghost. The blue banner in the sky. That one right there. But it looks like a twin crosses, white ones. I thought that was one of the ghost guys. I think I do have to backtrack. It's maybe, just maybe, he's over there. Oh, God help us, Rob. God help us, Rob. If you this okay. Don't make your own way. You're not a Pathfinder. You've wanted to play Pathfinder, but you've always said to yourself, I'd prefer it in a digital format so I can just keep track of all these things digitally. Oh, I heard that. I heard it. Little lock on. Am I near? I think he's close. So we're gonna go up here carefully. Oh, there he is. I was right. Ghost Knights. Hopefully go stand still. We're missing one. Wouldn't you know it, he's back there. I would have to say this level does have the more difficult chalices to obtain. Wait. Where is he? I saw the banner again. I thought it was him. Okay, here's something. It's just locking onto the swamp beast. There's only one way for it to be. We have our 97%. The last guy has to be out there. I gotta backtrack even further. This just always just yeah. I'm doing a really risky thing, just running full bore into it. I'm gonna be messed up if they just spawned in a bunch of enemies just to chase you down. I bet you somebody made a ROM hack to where this game's just unbeatable. Okay, Rob. Easy does it. You have three good chances. As you know, you tend to mess up jumps sometimes and run when you don't need to. Just walk. They aren't going to bother you if you don't look directly at them. Now, you rotate the camera. Jump. And here's the boatman.
Greetings, stranger. I am the boatman. It is I who ferry lost souls on their final journey to the land of the dead. But oh, have we not met before? Sir Daniel Fortescue. Not you too. Thanks to Zarok's meddling, I'm up to my eye sockets and lost souls awoken from the eternal sleep. Business hasn't been this brisk since before they invented sanitation. Look, if you help me to gather up a boatload of 8 lost souls and bring them here, I'll drop you off at the sunken town of Melamede. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me. Hey, by the way, you mean these?
How gracious of you. It's a change to meet a polite young skeleton after dealing with those filthy zombie types.
Of course.
Overboard.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Let's go to the more challenging version of this kind of level where you stay on a platform. And I don't know if I got cut off there. If you stand on a platform, you don't die. Okay. I have to remind myself every time there's a load screen, it doesn't necessarily start capturing my audio. It kind of cuts off my audio. Sword guy, sword guy. Fingers crossed. Sword guy, sword guy, sword guy. Sword guy. Yes. Give me that blade of magicness.
Alright then, man. How you doing?
How you doing? I'm from Scotland.
How did? Have you got yourself a magic sword?
Semi-magic. Gotta pay for it.
What? Daniel, man, you can't go into battle against an army of undead without a magic sword. Here, take mine. You'll never have to sharpen another blade, or my name's not Dirk Steadfast. It's not enough just to have a magic shield, you know, no matter what that soft, ticky stern card says.
Yes, give me the goods. Delivering the goods.
Why, I'd sooner go into battle holding a tea tray than carry that weedy Gale's shield of his.
Ooh, delivering the goods. Oh, yeah, that's good. I saw this glowing down here when he was talking to me. Yeah, you like this sword now, buddy? This blows your sword out. This would snap that thing in half. Delivering the goods. Oh, let's get a good shot of that majestic blade. Nice. That's real good. Onwards! Whew. So by this point in the game, if if you don't have that sword, heaven help you. I should have had it by the time I went back to the asylum, but what can you do? We're actually nearing the end of the game. I think there's a... I don't know if there's 20 or 18... There's got like 20 or 22 chalices in the whole game. Maybe 20. I have no clue. It's somewhere in the 20s area, if I'm remembering this partially correctly. That means I'm one short, and it's 23. Because I never... It cut me off again. I'm fairly certain of it. Well, we have no time to talk about that. We're here at the... I don't know the name of this place, but I'm just going to call it the water level. Why am I going to call it the water level? Look around. It's nothing but black pits of water, also known as, if you don't get on this thing, you die. So, we gotta kill these things. We gotta kill them now. No, lock onto this one. Why do you lock onto that? No! Oh, I burned him. Good. They don't count for souls or anything like that. It's just good to get those out of the way. So in this level, there's tons of backtracking. Tons of it. Pretty much to the point if you haven't found yourself backtracking fairly quarter way through this level, you're missing something. Okay. I think this level also is like very like difficult in the fact that oh, I remember you're not supposed to kill the green eyeball so you can have enemies spawn. If you do it, they won't spawn. And I feel like this is one of those levels where you require all of the kills. But anyway, we're just gonna... Okay. Okay, they just pop back out of the water. Come get some. There's the ending of the level, by the way. We're already there. Who would have thought it? Come on. I know you're down there. The Earth Rune is best not to run on this level. Unless you know for a fact you're good. Which in most cases, you're not. Stink. Behold the end of the level. But wait a second, I don't have that rune. Yep, that's where the backtracking comes in. You need that. Go, search, seek, gather, and kill. And I gotta tell you, it's probably one of the more difficult enemies in the game to kill, because they take sword blows like it's just a stiff breeze. Sure, it may blow them back a bit, but what do they care? They'll come back and just fire stuff at you. Oop, what's this? Ah, delicious gold. Stop it. What is... Oh, no. Not on the catwalks. Yeah, sure, I can knock you into the water, but what does that mean for me? It means you're just gonna come back. Okay. For why I don't speak during a lot of these, like, little transition spaces. Keep in mind, this will be, eventually, compiled into more of an informational video. Bearing if I have time, and it doesn't take a tremendous amount of editing or research. I'm not imagining much, I'm just imagining not more than a month's worth of work. Like, I'm expecting maybe a week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks minimum if I were to do these kind of informational videos, to where this guy's gonna pop out and scream in my face. But only if I activate this machine, which is something I have to do. Hey, look at that. Activate the crystal. But if I were to do these informational videos, I would want something without my commentary over it, and it's just easier to not record a separate audio track, because my editing software will lose frame rate. It'll lose some, like, fidelity because of the processing. It's just better to do the raw footage to the channel, in my opinion. You may have a better idea of it. But as it stands right now, my video software that I have recording would be kind of at a disadvantage to what I would want. And only when I am absolutely forced to, what's this say? Okay, it's just telling me I need to activate all these. But when I'm absolutely forced to, when I have to edit, I'll edit. But when I don't have to, and because one of my things I like to do, I like to watch more long playthroughs of unedited work. Just because something to sit back and chill on. That's something I like. I know a lot of people also like this kind of idea, because I watch channels with big subscriber numbers that do the same thing. And they have a fairly good amount of watch time. Somebody comes home from work, they just want to unwind, they'll watch something like that. I feel like they're just going to come on me. That's not a right choice of words. Rob, that ain't right. They're not spawning. Okay. Strange. I think this is one of the more difficult levels to get the chalices in, because simply enough, you attack the little eyes too early, the guys won't spawn back, and look, there go your souls. There's also that rare chance where if they go into the water, they just might not come back. But by the way it looks, I feel like we might get the chalice. The percentages seem to be good. Let's just fill up on the juice, the green goodness. Well, that's cool. Oh yeah, the big compilation video of this game at the very end, when I upload everything, and then I can just go through the YouTube editor and just do the videos. Let me just deal with this first. Think. I would like it to be less than 45 minutes of an unabridged video, between an hour 20 to a 45-minute span. But then I look at how much footage I have recorded. Like, this is video number 5. It's going to be about an hour long. That's 5 hours of material I need to trim down into 2, not even 2, like 1 to less than 1. Into the pit. Here's your silver shield, just in case you ain't armed with the gold one already. Which, if you aren't, you ain't playing the game right. There's some... water elephants. I've never understood that. Here's, like, you know, the rib cage of a giant fish or a dead whale. Makes sense, you know. Then you got giant water elephants. Whatever, it's just demons, imps, zombies. That's by far the least of my concern. It's a giant elephant underwater. And hey, look what it is. Alright, go ahead. Give it to me. Launch them. Send them after me. Kill that thing, so that's just gonna make an annoyance. Nope. No. What are these things? Barnacles? The eyeballs. Go ahead. Spawn them. Okay, they're there. Okay, they're there. There you go. Oh, he's glitched. He's glitched. No, he's not. He's just, Oh, he is glitched. He's stuck. Cool. Makes it all the easier for me. 85%, and I think we still got a platform to have to go to. Yeah, this is the platform I turned around from. Okay, give us the guys. Give us the... Come on, bring... Deliver the goods. Deliver the goods. It's that song Judas Priest talked about. Deliver the goods. Come on. Delivering the goods. Dun, 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 dun. Delivering the... Ooh! We got one more guy over here. I think we're going to get the chalice this time. Some of the weird spawn issues that I was witnessing with the guys just disappearing. Ooh! Yes. And I think it's just over here. Rock on. Carefully walk across. Take a turn. Do a jump. Bingo. I don't know how to open this. But I do know what this is for. Okay, we have this triggered, and we go around back. Hopefully hit a switch. Yep. I remember some of this game, but not all of it. As evident by a good chunk of me fumbling around like a complete buffoon sometimes. But, you know, whatever. I've noticed I've been saying the word whatever a lot. I feel like you could do a compilation of just Rob says whatever while playing MediEvil. I think that's the spawn area. Yeah, that's where you enter the level. You take this direction. This is the end, if I remember correctly. No, not that much backtracking. Back when I played this game originally, there was a ton of backtracking. I was like, I gotta go all the way over here, and I gotta go back over here. It's just a bunch of stuff. What do you got to say? I need a drink. Fill in the airtime.
The ancient people of this long-vanished town once sought to harness the power of crystals found in the caverns below. Now, Zarek seeks to unlock the secrets of this arcane science. This mine shaft leads deep into the earth to certain doom in the crystal caverns.
Ah, yes, Daniel Fortescue back from the grave once again. Mispronouncing names and such.
Anyway. Oh, my spine hurt. Yeah, this might be my last batch of MediEvil videos I record for the day. Cause, yeah, last time I did put in 3. But it is kind of late relative to... Well, it's only 39 minutes and we can go to another level. Alright, let's go. That just felt like it dragged on forever. I guess for the last video, it took me just ages to get through. Alright. Give it to me. Snarky insult.
Oh, Danielle. I've got something here I can give you, but I've no idea what it is.
I don't even need to listen to the rest of it. I want exactly what you're selling. What do you mean you have no idea? That's a bow. You're holding one. It's a magic bow, but still, it's a bow. It's not even the bow that's magic. It's the arrows. Maybe the bow is magic. Maybe it ain't. I don't know. No, the bow isn't magic. The arrows are. Magic longbow. Flaming longbow. It's just the arrows. It's the same bow. Whatever. It's the 1990s. As far as I know, that entire era in time's a fever dream. Save the game. And if you don't believe me when I say the 90s was a fever dream, take a look back. This is a good like example. I've been watching like these defunct land videos with all these Disney things that are closed down. Have you seen half the garbage that Disney wants to put under the rug from the 90s? The California like movie star freaking, I don't even know what it's called. Have you seen the... Okay, let's just take a look in the sidebar down here. Freaking the Body Wars thing. Body Wars. I remember going to that. It was strange. It was like 89 to like 2006 when they had it, and they just decided to obliterate it, and they didn't even try and refurbish the area or reuse it. They just left it there to rot. And like the California like limo driving ride, that was just like a fever dream. And also Nickelodeon stuff. Have you been? Of course, nobody's been there in a while, but do you remember the Nickelodeon like Studio Universal thing? All those game shows? That was just strange. The way I remember the 90s is like some sort of fever dream that I can't remember. It's like I had it in some sort of like, I was in a sick daze. To where I was like, I think this happened, but I don't remember. And then there appears some sort of ancient relic of the times to where like, man, this existed. It was an awful music era. It was awful for music. Okay. Don't let anybody tell you, grunge is terrible. Nirvana is not a good band. The 90s musically was the worst thing to happen. It was terrible. Metal bands decided to go grunge because we gotta do what keeps us alive. If our name isn't Metallica or Megadeth or Slayer, we're going to die. Motorhead didn't change. And they put out some good stuff during the 90s. Blind Guardian? They started 89. The reason they started so late is because I feel like Blind Guardian could have been huge. Huge. If they had started in the early 80s instead of 89 or 88 when their first albums came out. Their stuff in the 90s is some of the most glorious things ever. Nightfall in Middle-earth. It's immaculate. But thanks to the 90s being, hair metal and thrash metal, grunge is popular now. And with the boy band garbage, I have no words. It was a strange time to be alive. Video games are pretty good. Like the SNES and NES era, PlayStation, N64, Sega CD, a lot of those games are kind of, I don't know. But as far as video games, you had some of the best stuff on Earth. Mortal Kombat. I think Mortal Kombat debuted in the early 90s. Their best stuff was in the 90s, indefinitely. Mortal Kombat, Spyro the Dragon. A lot of the Mario games are in the 90s. A lot of the classic ones. Legend of Zelda stuff. The most iconic titles are in the 90s. Video games in the 90s were great. Although you have Okay, here's my opinion on video games. The ones you remember as good, those were classics. And what am I saying here? Okay, take a look at all of the games ever made in history. All the video games. Every console, every, like, arcade, anything that would shareware from the DOS era, anything that would be considered a video game, and you have it in a giant library in front of you. Just a giant shelf. It's 3 shelves high, about 6 feet high. And it just stretches on for maybe a mile and a half. Just stuff piled onto these shelves. I'd be just dumbfounded to say that if there was more than a fourth of stuff that would be considered really good versus... Okay, I'm probably going to say this. Out of all the games ever made for video games, that be bootlegged. Of course, bootlegged. Out of all the games that have ever been made, I think it's safe to say, without a doubt, most of them were bad. It's mostly just IPs that never took off. It was a bunch of stuff that just so happened to fail, and it only happened once. Like Daikatana, John Romero's Daikatana, utter garbage. But John Romero and John Carmack were responsible for Wolfenstein 3D and the original Doom games. In fact, they did games before Doom and Wolfenstein, like the first-person wizard game for DOS. It's a bunch of old stuff back in the day. It was just... so much of it was just bad shovelware. It was a Wild West area of, like, there were next to little no rules. Anything could go. And as far as you know, this game that is utter garbage that you made could be, oh, I'm going to get money from this. Somebody's going to pay me big time money for this. No, and that's not the case. A lot of these games failed when they were shareware discs, when you would have to mail in money, and in 2 months, hopefully, you'd get your game in by 2 months. And that's if the game didn't suck and you got the shareware disc and decided, you know what, I'm not going to invest in this. What am I talking about? Oh yeah, I went on a tangent about how the 90s is a fever dream. Then that went into 90s music being a catastrophe for most all good genres of music. Of course there was some good stuff in the 90s. I've made my point clear that Blind Guardian's best stuff is in the 90s, and Division Bell by Pink Floyd's made in the 90s, and I love that album. But grunge and the PC politically correct nonsense that spewed forth from the 90s, yeah, that sucked. It sucks now as much as it did then. Actually, more, it sucks horrendously now. But then that devolved into video games in the 90s being mostly pretty good. At least the ones I've played. I've never played a... No, Rob, stop it before you put your foot in your mouth. You've played bad PS1 games. In fact, I think you own one. I think it's called The Grinch. Because back in the day, you didn't know it was good or bad. You just had it, and you played it. Your standard was far lower back in the day because you were a kid and you didn't know what you had. You had Croc 1. And I tried replaying Croc 1. I desperately tried. I was like, I remember this game. I never really knew how to play it, but I'll give it another shot. Try playing it. It is just awful. The controls are so busted. It's like, okay, here's a jump, but it's like barely a jump. It goes up more than it should, and horizontally it goes nowhere. The running is kind of weird. The camera, of course, is awful. Who would have thought? That's just a victim of the times. But my lord, the game was bad. And I call it inexcusable because at the same time, when Croc was out, games like Super Mario 64 and Crash Bandicoot that revolutionized the genre had already been made. The standard was set with Super Mario 64 back in 95 in Japan and 96 everywhere else. And then this thing, along with Bubsy 3D somehow existing, Okay, can we talk about how Bubsy got a fourth game? Who wanted that? And the game's like an hour long. That's the last I'm gonna speak of that thing. No more Bubsy ever again. Ooh. Treasure room. Gonna go ahead and steal all this. No, this just screams dragon. You know, I got a big giant dragon head on the wall, treasure hoard lying around. If you've ever played any sort of a RPG game, or Diablo, or even read a fantasy novel from before 1980 or 1990, dragons hoard things. Usually shiny things. Things that rhyme with old. And they hoard expensive garbage, but this is where the dragon gems go. And when you get the dragon gems out, this happens.
Who dares to enter my lair and wake me from my slumber? Aha! Prepare yourself, little man. I shall roast the flesh from your bones. Oh, I see. Well, in that case, I will pluck out both your eyes. Oh, great. I'm just gonna give you a good hiding.
I don't have a hide for you to give a good hiding to. Anyway, we need the hammer. Okay, up here. Oh, God. Okay, this is... I wouldn't call this a boss fight. This is more of a gimmick. Because it's such an easy experience. If you don't get stuck on a rock like a moron and decide to turn into Mr. Crispy. Alright, it's done.
Enough! I yield! I really hurt. What the hell you gonna do that for? Here, take this dragon potion and leave me alone. Drink it when you need it. It gives you armor that is impervious to heat. Plus it lets you breathe fire. Now, go away.
After defeating Dragon Russian Sean Connery, for whatever reason that was the voice they decided to give him, here's the dragon armor. Unfortunate thing about the dragon armor, you cannot have anything else equipped while having this. That's for example, you can have your shield, makes sense. But you put your sword on. Oh, I feel naked. So we're just gonna go ahead and slap this back on. With our shield, of course. But who needs a sword when he can breathe fire? They don't even have a point for the circle button at that eventuality. Look at that. Watch this. Come on, come on. I can take on the world. This suit will be very useful by the time you get to what I think is the next level. I hope it's the next level, because no, I don't, because that means the game's almost over. But I can't imagine of any other level that will come after this. Do we have all the souls? No, we're missing one. That's probably near the exit. You need the dragon's breath to open a door, I believe. Melt ice or something. Thank God this doesn't have ice level mechanics where you slide around and go whoa. But instead they just decide, screw it. No ice level mechanics, no slipping, sliding around. Let's get on fire on. Overpowered. Who needs a sword at this point? You're a dragon, dude. with your eye missing. You're not even a dragon and you just got a good head on. Hold on. There we go. One of these will provide a good picture. Actually, let's do it in a better lit area. I want to get a good thumbnail with the dragon armor. Ooh. No, 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 no. That's not quite it. What have you. I'll probably pick something out. What is that? Oh, I was like, I can't see the floor. I don't know what this is. It's where we need to go for the chalice. This level is probably the most mediocre in all of the game. Not much really to it. They have one of the more bland boss fights within the entire game, where it's just you can just avoid him, and you get the arguably one of the better items that you'll only really use once. Yeah, one of these stills will be fine. Because we're nearing the end. You got something to say?
Wouldn't this make a wonderful tourist attraction? Come see Stengard the Mighty. Come and see the last of the centaurs. Oh, and see that dork over there? That's Daniel Fortescue, would-be hero.
What was that? I was blocking you out, Fed up with your insults. I'm gonna burn the place down. Starting with this book. Actually, it's quite interesting to read. Anyway. Who are you? You have a thing in your hair.
Daniel, there you are. I was so worried about you.
I don't even know who you
I
are.
know you have the heart of a hero, Daniel. Now we must show the others. Would you like to take my magic lightning bolts? I don't have many, but they're very powerful.
She's the nicest one out of all of them. That and Canny Tim, but he put a jab at popping somebody in the head with an arrow across a field.
Oops, sorry, Daniel. Now take care. The good people of Galamere are depending on you.
Excellent. This weapon is useless. I don't remember using this at all, because it's like, you use it so quickly, and when it's gone, it's gone. And it costs a lot to regain. It's just not, in my opinion, worth using. Just at about an hour. 58 minutes. Shorter than the last one by far. We can make up that time. And here we are at the end of the video. This time I'm not driven mad by insanity over 2 levels, which are the most arduous in the entire game. The lake. Oh, it's just called the lake. I thought it had an actual name to it. Anyway, our next map will be the Gallows Gauntlet. Probably the only level you'll actually use the dragon armor for, because it's essentially just for this map. In fact, I think they did away with it in the remake, because there was only one purpose for it. Either way, thanks for watching. Judging by how these videos are going, might be 2 or 3 left. Maybe 2 if I extend the last episode. Anyway, we're about halfway through, just over halfway with the game. If I remember correctly. Anyway, this is the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Click that subscription thing down there. Give it a good click. And then the bell, make sure it tells you it's always on. Because whatever reason, YouTube decides to mess with that. As if it's necessary. And hope I don't get cut.